ये मेरे को ये वीडियो इंटरेस्टिंग लग रहा था। ओह हैवी म्यूजिक, हैवी म्यूजिक। Oh, horror short party. Oh, okay.
I was in my early 20s and was unfortunately unemployed. The stress of not having a job while living with the obligation of having student loans, in addition to the monthly payments for my student housing, always weighed heavy on my shoulders. I was a student majoring within the medical field, so it was always inevitable that the majority of my time was delegated to schoolwork and applying for jobs online, as I was living off the funds I made from my last retail job. The quality of my life at this time was both extremely stressful and depressing, as I would literally live off eating crackers and cheap instant noodle packs. I would even go as far as to sleep hungry sometimes, just to save every last dollar possible to help pay for my rent and school funds. I remember staying up late one night, as I had a biology exam coming up within a few days. I could recall being overwhelmed from the monotonous material I was drilling into my head, when I heard a loud knock on my door. Sarah? Sarah, can you answer the door? It's Charlie. Hello? I know you're in there.
What?
I heard you watching TV 5 minutes ago.
Hello?
Yes? What do you want, Charlie?
I need to talk to you. Can you please answer the door? Hey, Sarah. You know your rent is due, right?
I'll get it to you by tomorrow. I've just been a little flustered with school.
Don't worry. You can give it to me tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Charlie. You're a lifesaver.
To make it easier on you, I do take other forms of payment, you know.
What the fuck?
I'm good. I'll just pay you tomorrow.
What's wrong, Sarah? I'm just trying to help a pretty
Turkey?
little girl like you
Buddha?
out. Don't you want my help? Don't worry. It'll only take 5 minutes tops. We'll act like nothing ever happened. Imagine not having to worry of paying a single bill again, Sarah, for just a measly 5 minutes of your time. Did I ever tell you that you look just as beautiful as my daughter?
I said I'm good.
You better pay me tomorrow, you little brat, or else you can get the hell out of my property. I've always had unsettling vibes from my landlord the day I moved in here, but unfortunately couldn't really do much, as the housing market for students around the area were either occupied or way over my budget.
Yeah.
As busy as I was with school, I was always a social butterfly at heart, and had a pretty decent following on my social media. I unfortunately didn't make any money online, but I did have about a couple hundred fans in my DMs and comment section, asking if I had an OnlyFans. I, of course, didn't own one, as I was always hesitant in encountering...
Bro, do you know there was this random person, ठीक है ना, उसने मेरी streams देखी थी, and I'm not sure how old he is या कुछ भी, गोकू का DP लगा रखा था, ठीक है ना, मुझे लगता है वो छोटा ही कोई होगा. उसने मेरे को random उससे text आता है at night, ठीक है ना, DM आया था और मैं उस टाइम पे इंस्टा ही चला रही थी. ओके तो तुम्हारे पास टेक्स्ट आता है दिस पर्सन DM यू या ऐसा कुछ करके, एंड फिर तुम जाते हो DMs में. तो रात को आया, मैंने देखा जाके, भाई बोलता है आई सॉ योर स्ट्रीम्स, यू आर सो प्रिटी. अब नीचे लिखता है योर ओनली फैन. एक बार हो गया, दूसरी बात ओनली फैन ओनली फैन ओनली फैन. लिटरली ही रोट 50 टाइम्स तुम्हारा ओनली फैन वाला थिंग, एंड आई ब्लॉक्ड हिम. मैंने एक्सेप्ट भी नहीं करी, आई जस्ट ब्लॉक्ड हिम बिकॉज दैट वाज सो क्रीपी. इट वाज लाइक कि कॉल पे कॉल, एंड मुझे समझ नहीं आता कि जब मैंने तुम्हारा एक्सेप्ट ही नहीं किया DM, तो व्हाई आर यू कॉन्स्टेंटली कॉलिंग, वीडियो कॉल वीडियो कॉल वीडियो कॉल वीडियो कॉल वीडियो कॉल एंड दिस टेक्स्ट एंड ऑल. दैट वाज बहुत ज़्यादा क्रीपी, एंड इतने वियर्ड लोग पता नहीं कहाँ से आता है दुनिया में.
Weirdos within the online world. I really didn't want to run into the risk of being recognized by any school colleagues or relatives for that matter, considering the internet was a large place where anything could be shared or screen recorded nowadays. At the time that this occurred, I was extremely eager to make any form of income without having to deal with the hassle of working a regular job, which is why I ultimately decided to sign up for an OnlyFans account. I decided to take a couple of provocative selfies of myself while wearing some outfits that I thought would be appealing to the rather large male audience I had accumulated through my years on social media. I even went as far to take self-portraits of myself in bed, using a professional camera I had owned from a while ago.
I mean, like, सो इट स्टार्टेड बाय डेस्परेशन कि आपको काम नहीं करना है, आपको जस्ट इजी मनी चाहिए अभी, क्योंकि यू आर इन कॉलेज एंड यू हैव अ लॉट ऑफ प्रेशर. बेसिक इनका मतलब यही था. And that's why she started
I
her
remember
OnlyFans.
uploading the catalog
OnlyFans.
of images on my profile while promoting it on my Instagram story, just to see if there was going to be any first-time buyers willing to see the other side of me. I made sure to hide the stories from my close relatives, especially my mother, as I didn't want them knowing I wanted to explore the mature side of myself, and that I wasn't solely depending on making a living using OnlyFans. I can recall it not even being 5 minutes yet, when I noticed a notification on OnlyFans. I then refreshed my homepage, only to see that I got my first paid subscriber.
Bruh.
If I had to be honest, I was quite thrilled at the notion that anyone would be interested in me, or should I say my looks. I remember the user then sending a message saying, "Hey beautiful, happy to be your first OnlyFans sub." I typed,
This
Thank
is
you.
creepy.
Let me know if you'd like to see more.
The user then playfully requested for several provocative pictures of myself wearing lingerie. I felt a little uncomfortable hearing such a request, but I knew in the back of my head that this was going to take some getting used to, especially if I wanted to pursue a potential career on OnlyFans. Regardless of who this person was, I decided to take the requested pictures in front of a mirror
my God.
using my cell
And then
phone.
you got into that
I
big
then
hole.
uploaded the images onto my laptop and charged the man a lump sum of $50 per photo. The man then responded, "I want to be your one and only customer forever." I obviously found this a bit alarming.
Okay, for some reason, why do I feel like it's her landlord? Like this person is actually not a regular boy or customer, it's her landlord.
But casually
मुझे
brushed
बस
it
vibe आ रहा
off
है.
by telling the
That
user
can
I
be.
was
I
going
feel
to
the
go
same.
study
Yeah, I feel
and that I
same.
was going to catch
वही.
him later.
Don't you
I
think
then
so?
made my way to the kitchen to make some instant noodles while
It can
resuming the
be.
dreadful
Yeah,
exam
maybe.
preparation I had
Good idea,
procrastinated
anonymously.
on since the beginning of the day. I remember studying for at least a good 2 hours straight before calling it a night. I then headed back to my bedroom, only to
Okay.
notice my laptop was still open and wanted to see if there was any further activity with my OnlyFans account. That's when I saw at least 100 unread messages coming from the same user that I had interacted with earlier.
Bruh, this is that
The
Turkey
messages
Buddha.
varied from things like, "Where are you?" to, "Hello? I've been waiting for you for hours now," to really aggressive messages like, "Answer me, ho." This left me completely dumbfounded, as the user then seemed apologetic towards the end of the messages, as if he suffered from bipolar disorder. I honestly contemplated on blocking this guy,
How?
but as I scrolled
That's
through
so-
the messages,
First of
I
all,
noticed
being
one
on
of them
OnlyFans is
offering
also
to pay
creepy,
me
but this
$100 if I
too
sent
much.
a video of myself crying on camera.
Hi, Aksh Maheshwari. Hello.
I couldn't tell if this guy was joking or if it was some sort of sick f*** of his, but I decided to
is
oblige
just a-
as I really needed the money. I began to screen record a
Small
video
Vina
of
man.
myself using my webcam and began to force myself to cry by thinking of sad things like the death of my grandmother or the divorce of my parents and how my dad left my mom hanging to be a deadbeat dad.
What the fuck?
I eventually stopped the filming and sent the video to the user for a price tag of $100. About 5 seconds later, the user immediately sends another odd request, as if he disregarded my last video and was craving for more. The message read,
You!
"Can you stick your finger down your throat and vomit in a bucket? I'll pay you another $100.
What the
Hello?
hell?
Is he alright in his head?
This seemed extremely off-putting, but I felt as if I was obliged to do so, considering I was an extremely broke student and needed any kind of funds I could get my hands on.
Girl,
I decided
just
to grab a
work at
large bowl
convenience
from my
store.
kitchen cabinet while contemplating my conscious decision to do such a thing. As I sat in front of my laptop, I held the bowl with one hand and stuck
No
my
way,
index
don't-
finger down my throat with the other, while simultaneously trying to regurgitate the instant noodles I had just eaten. I then sent the user the video with a price tag of $100. Again, the user instantly replies in a matter of seconds with another odd request. His message read, "Cut a handful of your hair off using a knife, and I'll pay you $200. I felt pretty
No.
hesitant at first, but
Nah, I don't believe she would do that. She should not cut her hairs. वो तुम्हें बोलेगा in the end कि मार लो खुद को तो तुम मार लोगे क्या?
as I
Very stupid.
digested the odd request, I thought it would be an easy $200, considering how I always wanted to get a haircut anyway. I
Holy
responded with a
crap.
stern, sure, BRB, as I went into the kitchen to grab a knife from one of the kitchen drawers. As I stared into the reflection of the blade, I began second-guessing myself, as the thought of sadistically tearing my hair off with a blade seemed very inhumane. I unfortunately allowed my stupidity to completely overcloud my judgment, as I ended up biting on a piece of cloth while raising my hair with one hand, and then slowly cutting it off with the knife on my other hand.
No way.
I remember trying my
No
best not
way.
to make too much noise from my repugnant decisions, as the sheer distress from the back and forth carving of my hair left my scalp throbbing in an excruciating manner. I then shouted,
There's your stupid video, you sick freak. You happy now? Huh?
as I gestured a
Hello?
hand with my detached
You
hair.
Narayan, hello. No way.
That's when the
दोनों ही
user
पागल, दोनों ही
immediately
पागल हैं.
responds with another sadistic request, saying,
अबे भाई तुम कर क्यों रहे हो?
cut your finger off for another $200.
See,
I
I told you.
dismissed the
ये
user
पागल है.
using profanities and vulgar language, basically telling him to go F himself, as I simultaneously block his account. I then went into the washroom and began to sit in the bathtub to reflect on my bizarre decisions and what possessed me to do such a thing.
Oh God.
I could then hear my phone vibrating on the bathroom sink several times from the notifications set on my phone. As I got out of the shower, I checked my phone, only to see the notifications were from a user with the same profile name on Instagram. I could tell that the user was obviously a stalker, as he had no followers, but was following at least a couple hundred others. I then opened the user's messages, only to see screenshots and video footage of what transpired within our OnlyFans interaction. As I scrolled up, I noticed a lengthy message from the user asking me to bring a knife to an undisclosed location if I didn't want him to send this to anyone else, almost like I was getting taunted and blackmailed at the same time. I ended up accepting the user's messages and replying with a firm,
I'm gonna sue you if you don't delete those images and videos.
He then responds with an image of my mother's Instagram and says, "Is this your mom's Instagram?" I then reply with,
What the f? Don't do it! I'm begging you!
"Go to the park now."
Okay,
This
fine, you win. I'm leaving
has
right now.
to be
You
her
freak.
landlord.
That's
This
when I
has
tucked the
to be
knife
her
underneath the band of my
landlord, okay?
leggings and began to
has
walk
to
towards
be.
the park. I then text the user for further instructions as I surveyed
Why
my
would you
surroundings
go
of
there?
the
Just
park,
call
only
the
to see a
police
homeless-looking
person.
individual laying on a bench.
Don't
That's
tell me
when
he's
I
gonna
get
tell
another text from the
हर चीज
user
को मार
saying,
दो.
"Since you didn't want to cut your finger off, cut his, and I'll leave you alone."
No, they never
I
leave
then
you
pulled
alone.
out the
They
knife
just.
and began to approach the homeless man.
God, कोई
As I
इतना
could see,
पागल
he was
कैसे हो
completely
सकता है?
passed out drunk
कोई
from the
इतना
empty
पागल कैसे हो
alcohol bottle
सकता
laying
है?
next to the bench he was sleeping on. As I cautiously approached the man, I began to elevate his pinky in midair with one hand while raising the knife with my other hand. I
Oh,
then
God.
swung the knife in one quick motion. That's when I ran back towards the main road as the man screamed in agony.
No.
I eventually made it back to my place and began panting in distress and exhaustion without making it obvious to the other individuals in the household that I had initially stepped out. I then abruptly got a call
I
on my
feel
cell
this ain't
phone.
True, it's just
I was a
made up.
little
I'm not
hesitant
even.
to
I'm not
answer the
sure,
phone,
यार, if it's true or
considering
not.
I had not given out any personal information to the user. As I
That's
pull out my
her
phone, I can
landlord.
see that the call was surprisingly coming from my mom. I answered the phone
Oh,
and said,
oh.
Hello?
What the hell is wrong with you, Sarah? Why would you do that? Why? Have you freaking lost your damn mind? You're all over the damn internet!
What the fuck was that? What was that. Oh my god. No way. If this is true, तो बहुत ज़्यादा crazy है because तुम्हें पता है ये ऐसे ही लोग फंसते हैं stalkers के पीछे, ठीक है ना? Crazy.
I was 22 years old and was always despondent from the lack of job offers I was getting online. Not having the responsibility of a job drove me crazy for the latter part of my post-graduation time.
This is always like not having a job. Okay, जब आपके पास job नहीं होती है and like having no money and आपको बहुत सारी चीजें pay करनी पड़ती हैं, I feel like then you get this thing.
Off, as the lack of response from the dozens of job applications I had applied for online were either being neglected or probably in someone's spam box. I wanted to make a steady income, which would have allowed me to find a place with my boyfriend John and possibly move in together. I also wanted to prove to my parents that I was something they could genuinely be proud of.
Okay.
But they unfortunately weren't the most supportive, as I got the move out of my place vibes every time we interacted with each other. My boyfriend, John, was the only person in my life that was supportive of me. I was supportive of him as well.
The animation
as John went
is
through a
kinda
traumatic
scary.
experience of dealing with his ex-girlfriend's death about a year or two ago. She apparently died from a brain tumor, which left her in a coma for the latter part of their relationship. It was obviously a bitter pill for John to swallow, but through time, he eventually came to terms with the loss and found some closure along the way. There was a time when John recommended that I use OnlyFans if I wasn't able to snatch a job within the next few months, as it was a great source of income according to what his ex made off of it. I figured I'd give it a try, as I thought it couldn't hurt to show off my looks in exchange for a couple $100s. I remember taking a few self-portraits of myself while wearing the most seductive outfits I could find in my wardrobe. I then made an OnlyFans and uploaded the images, in hopes that I could capture the attention of any potential consumers from around the world. Several weeks later, my OnlyFans success had taken an unexpected turn, as I grew a pretty large following and was able to make a decent amount of income to suffice myself. There was this one user who was usually consistent in requesting for my content through my DMs.
Okay.
I could honestly say that he or she was the most active on my page, considering they were requesting for videos or photos almost every day. I felt as if I had established a strong rapport with this one individual, as we chatted often as I could in order to maintain a healthy relationship with that user.
That's not even a relationship. That just he's gooning every single day, and that guy or girl has to be skinny as hell at this point.
I began to feel slightly uncomfortable over time, as the user began requesting for weird things like a photo of myself with my foot behind my back or replicate a murder scene in your bedroom using fake blood. I think it's hot when girls
Why is
are
it
covered in
always
blood.
this blood
It
related
reminds
thing?
me of my favorite movie, Gone Girl.
What the hell?
I found it weird that someone would get off on these kinds of things, but me and my boyfriend both mutually agreed to take the high road and go ahead with the requests,
No
considering
way.
the majority of my revenue was solely coming from this one particular person. As time went on, the requests became more and more bizarre the longer we stayed in contact. I remember the user requested if I could dye my hair black, or to start wearing more
She
darker
started
shades of
looking like
makeup while taking
His
photos.
ex.
It honestly felt as if I was playing dress up for the amount of demands the user was asking for. One of the most bizarre requests was a daily video of myself running on a treadmill. It was almost as if I was getting paid to run, shower, and then take provocative photos each and every
Ye bhi
day
pagal hai.
in exchange for X amount of dollars. This occurred for a couple of months,
Why
as
she
I've lost
started
close to
looking
30
like his
pounds from the
ex?
constant treadmill fetish the user got off on. It was getting to the point where I felt like I was beginning to lose my identity, so I stopped
fuck is
using
this story?
OnlyFans and just occupied myself
इसका
by staying
boyfriend,
away from my
तो नहीं
laptop
है. वो
and
क्यों
spending more
होगा
time
यार?
with my
He's like his
boyfriend.
boyfriend.
I remember this one
sure,
night,
but हो सकता
my
है.
boyfriend
हो
was in the
सकता है.
shower while I was watching TV, when I decided to check my OnlyFans account, just to see if that weirdo was still messaging me. I didn't have my laptop with me at the time, so I decided to use my boyfriend's laptop
It's
to log
gonna be
in.
that
As I
boyfriend
opened up
he.
the site, I realized that my boyfriend surprisingly had an OnlyFans account that was already logged in. I then noticed he had the
Oh.
same username as the person that was messaging me throughout all of these months.
You were right,
That's
girl.
when I closed the tab and unexpectedly saw a picture of John with his ex-girlfriend on his
See, I
desktop
told you
wallpaper.
she just looks like
As I
her
surveyed
only.
the portrait scattered around his room, I then realized that my boyfriend wasn't supporting my OnlyFans because he cared about me. He was doing it because he wanted me to look exactly like his dead ex-girlfriend.
Crazy. Even, I mean, ये थोड़ा fake story है, but I can believe it. I would never be friend with a.
The story creeps me out
इंडिया में होता ही
just
नहीं
thinking
है।
about it.
मतलब I don't think
I
so
find
कि
it disturbing
यहाँ पे
and
site
just
है।
downright wrong on so many levels. It happened about a year ago when I was up
Okay.
late one night watching TV in my bedroom. I was feeling a bit lonely and decided to be a little snoopy as I lacked any female companionship due to quarantining for months since the global pandemic.
Oh, okay.
I obviously couldn't go out and meet
hello.
girls like I used to, so I decided to resort to apps such as Tinder or Bumble. I unfortunately got tired of using such apps over time, as the rules of quarantining defeated the purpose of potentially meeting someone in person anyway. The lack of social interaction and inability to date was starting to get to me, which is why I decided to start entertaining the idea of using OnlyFans.
A
I've
guy
seen my
using
friends use
OnlyFans?
OnlyFans in the
अच्छा,
past,
not
so
as a
exploring
creator,
such
but as a
content
watcher.
wasn't a foreign thing to me. The time was roughly 1 a.m. when I decided to go on Instagram and scope out any random model that I thought would be worth spending a few $100s on.
Whoa! Hi,
I
Rishabh.
remember
hello.
coming across
Just
this
walking to
one
home with
girl named
audio only.
Ava.
Okay.
She was petite and brunette, and
Ava.
of course had an attractive face, which were qualities I valued a lot when looking at a female at first glance.
Oh.
I decided to check out her OnlyFans from her Instagram bio and committed to subscribing on her page, just so I could see more exclusive content and hopefully make up for the lackluster night I was having.
Oh, okay.
I obviously had to punch in my credit card details, but was definitely not ashamed to do such a thing.
Crazy that you are spending money for some pictures and videos, provocative videos. Damn.
As
And
Ava's
it's not on
content looked
food.
pretty promising.
I'm gonna cry.
That's when I decided to shoot her a message and perhaps request for more raunchy and seductive photos. I figured it couldn't hurt to shoot my shot. Ava surprisingly responded with stuff like,
Hey there, bet you're looking for some fun. What can I do for you, babe?
I ended up responding with, can you send me some hot pics to help make me not feel lonely? About 2 minutes later,
Oh,
Ava
God.
sent me a photo with an unlock for $50. I felt a little nervous, but decided to go ahead with the purchase, only to see what I had
So ये क्या
anticipated.
चाह रहे हैं?
Her exquisite face, in conjunction with her curvy and petite body, left me thirsty and wanting for more.
You
Over the
gooner.
next hour or so, I spent approximately $300 on photos and video clips of Ava through the
How
interactions
can
we
you
had
be
through our
this
DMs.
gooner,
Let's just say I ended up sleeping pretty well that night, and definitely got my money's worth. The next
$300 in a night.
morning, I decided to Google search more about Ava, just to see if I could potentially find more content of her online without having to pay for more on her OnlyFans. That's when things took a darker turn, and it completely changed the whole complexion of this story. I remember seeing an obituary of Ava as one of the first links on the Google search feed. I decided to click it and see if the obituary was
this?
legitimate.
Music.
After reading the obituary further, it was apparent that Ava had tragically passed away several weeks ago due to undisclosed reasons.
What?
A million questions started racing through my head as I started
Brother,
to wonder
what?
who the hell was I talking to? And how could she send me all of these photos and videos of herself as she was supposedly dead? As I dug a little deeper on Google,
Hello?
I found several articles stating that her own mother had been selling photos and videos of her deceased daughter to gain profit off of her.
Oh my
I remember
God.
getting so many goosebumps, to the point where I legitimately thought I was going to throw up all over my computer desk. I've since never used OnlyFans, as the thought of talking to a stranger who is deceased but has their account ran by another individual freaks
Which is
me
her
out just
mother.
thinking about it. Either way, This story is downright terrifying, as I pray the mom seeks professional help and hopefully finds some closure in the passing of her daughter.
That's crazy. How are these like people? Okay, हम चौथी नहीं देखेंगे क्योंकि ये यहीं से इतना ज़्यादा crazy हो गया. The mother using the OnlyFans and all shit is, oh god, I can't believe these things.